I answered this question. Hi, and welcome back. Apparently, we really are streaming this time, and it's CellarPassTV live from Hall Wines, St. Helena. And we are joined today by George Noble of Noble Wines and our special guest, Clarice from The Right Blend events, and she'll be talking about her sip and sail cruise later on. We want to thank you for joining us, and good afternoon. It is a beautiful day here in Napa Valley, and there are all kinds of things going on. I know if you caught a little bit of our stream earlier, you may be hearing this again, but it never hurts to share it. So it is Arts in April going on here in the Napa Valley, and that means there's lots of events going on every day, all month long. A couple that are still going on and you can book now is the Wine and Art Exploration Tour here at Hall Wines, and that's available online. And of course, there's also a really fun one coming up over at Sullivan Vineyards on April 19th, and it's a special art tour with Colleen Sullivan. And you can go to CellarPass.com, look at all the various events, and book your tickets and get your reservations. So, George, thanks for being here.
It's good to be back.
Absolutely. Round two. Let's do this. So we were talking we're actually on to the 2006 Cabernet Sauvignon right now, and we were talking a little bit about when you got into wine and how long you've been making wine. So why don't we recap that?
Okay. I'm not sure where to start the story because okay. Okay. Anyway, so we a bunch of us got together after I moved to Napa Valley in '99 and found some free Merlot grapes and made wine in the garage.
But they were abandoned Merlot grapes. They were just free. You had to rescue them. This is like Merlot rescue.
They would have been back into the soil. But terrible thing to do to wine, more than a grape, especially after you put some labor of love into making it. So we did that, and it turned out okay. We ended up finding where we could buy a little Petite Sirah, and it seemed to add a lot to the wine. I think that's where I got to really like the Petite Sirah as a blending wine, even though most people don't use it because it is a pretty bold wine. I think it adds a little more character to the Napa Valley Cabernet. So then in 2003, we went out and bought some real Napa Valley Rutherford Bench fruit, and it was a good wine, but as it was going through the aging process in the barrels and so forth, I proceeded to buy my 204 vintage, and I bought some wine from Pritchard Hill and Rutherford Bench, and I noticed what a difference the hillside fruit made. A lot of magic, actually. So after that, I've always had some hillside fruit in my different vintages. My current release vintages, the 4, 5, 6, and 7 all have some Pritchard Hill, and 5 and 6 have Atlas Peak also. And so there are lots of nice structures to them, but at their age, they're getting to be where they're not over tannins. And I think they were made very well. We didn't over oak them. We're in the barrel for about 30 months usually, which is probably 8 to 10 months longer than a lot of people. So a lot of people use more oak, and we just let it kind of do its thing slowly.
And you also, like we were talking earlier, you really hold back on your vintages. You're not quick to release. So right now, like your current releases are the 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're looking at most tasting rooms are pouring, 10s, 11, 12s. So you're not quick to rush. I think that's fantastic.
No, I think the wines are better. I'm in a lot of really nice restaurants now in Napa Valley, and the restaurants enjoy the taste of the wine now. They don't have to cellar it for a number of years. The consumers like it a lot too. It's a little bit of a unique challenge at wine shops because they're used to buying the younger vintages, and typically somebody sees something on a shelf that's got the age, they think it's there. Been there for a while. So
not the case. It just got there. Absolutely. So we're talking a little bit about when to decant the wines, and we're mentioning that obviously decant your younger wines more commonly, but when it comes to the older wines, that kind of decant selectively.
Correct. A lot of older wines, especially if they're not hillside fruit and valley floor, if they're more valley floor oriented, or even out in Napa Valley, they oxidize too quickly once you decant them. So it's kind of a game you play, and you need to kind of know your wines in your cellar. You know, you don't want to over decant a wine and all of a sudden you say it's past its peak, when if you would have done it slowly or not as much air, you could have enjoyed it longer.
Absolutely. I'm happy to report that our bloggers can hear us now. Hi, guys! And they can see us. It's wonderful. I'm so excited. I love it when it all comes together. Just looking at some questions, see if we had any come through. Not quite yet, so we'll just keep going down our other question. Oh, here's one. Do you have a tasting room?
Not currently, but we use Meadowwood as a tasting room. It certainly is. What we do is we do lunch with a vintner, which is me, and we pour the 2004, the 2005, the 2006, and 2007 Napa Valley Cabernets, and we usually start out with the cheese plate instead of end with the cheese plate, and over the. Okay, there you go. And then, which chocolate, as you know, goes very well with wine. Then after the cheese plate, we usually do a mushroom flatbread. It's got a little cheese in it. And then we eat off their menu, whatever they like. Actually, we found some very nice dishes that go very well with our cabs over there. And then dessert if they've got room.
Nice. Well, it's definitely a unique take. I think it gives you a very wonderful food and wine experience, something that goes a little bit beyond just some small bites. It's a full lunch, multi-course meal. And I think when you're putting together several stops in a day, it's really nice to get lunch. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I want to get 3 wineries in, and it can be kind of complex when you're putting it together. So I think your lunch and wine pairing really meets the needs for a lot of guests visiting the valley. And
have 1 or 2 tastings afterwards.
Exactly.
To have that lunch, and you're not going to be able to sample the older wines like you would with me.
Absolutely, and it also, like, not just for the food part, but you're able to really give an appreciation for what Napa Valley wines, how they age, what you're kind of looking toward when they're tasting the other wines. So what they're tasting today is basically what they're going to be tasting 6 years from now, roughly, or so.
People have to remember, aging a bad wine won't make it better.
This is true. This is true.
If it doesn't taste good in the beginning, chances are it's not going to develop. I think we've all been disappointed by going into our wine cellar and taking somebody else's advice and buying a wine. Then they say hold it for 8 or 10 years, and then you wait for that special occasion and you taste that wine. And
10 years later, you're pouring it down the drain. Yeah. Yeah, we've all been there. Well, maybe not all of us, but I've been there for sure. What's your favorite AVA?
Well, I'm a hillside fruit person, so yes. And I like the eastern mountains better, again, because the higher acids, because the more rain they get. That's true too. We get to watch the sunset. More of that's about the right time for a farmer to go to bed after you watch that good sunset.
Very cool. And where are your new wines? Are you making any? What do we got going on?
They're waiting their turn. My 2004, we're down to about 50 or 60 cases, so it won't be long that'll be replaced by the 2008, which is looking great.
I can't wait to try the 08, because definitely loving the 7. The 6 is phenomenal. Actually, all your wines are really, really good. We're getting some good feedback, and let's see, question. Could you speak about the 2006 vintage? Because actually a lot of our bloggers didn't hear us earlier, so let's record that.
Yes, the 2006 vintage by Robert Parker, as some of the wine writers, was liked but not loved. It was a 91, where the 2005 and the 2007, its siblings, let's call them, were 95s. And so I just kind of want to show that you can find value and you can find great wineries out there, even in quote-unquote off years.
Absolutely. And talking about this particular wine, I have to say, I don't think Parker had the right wines when he was calls. I'm sorry. I just think you could have done better. Yes, I said it. All right. So why did you choose the 2006? I mean, I know you wanted to kind of show what a 6 can be, but were there any other reasons? I know it's just delicious, and I think that could possibly play into it.
No, I guess as a sales point of view, 2007 kind of sells itself, just with the ratings. So I wanted to show people what the 2006 was like.
That's very, very, very good. We're going to switch over and introduce Clarice, and she's going to skirt in here. And here we are. Hi, Clarice. Thanks for being here. You've been so quiet over here in the corner. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on.
So I'm actually here to chat a little bit about my Sip and Sail wine cruise, taking place on Friday, May 2nd from 7 to 10 on the San Francisco Bay. I created this concept of an evening wine cruise to kind of give the opportunity to build a better relationship between people and wine. This gives the opportunity for guests to come on board, enjoy sailing on the bay with great wines, great food, fantastic views, obviously. But kind of the uniqueness of it is that I'm able to bring in really kind of key representatives of the wineries to really represent their brand. So when you leave, you really have an intimate relationship with the wine, their story. Like George was talking about, he favors mountain fruit and his reasons why, and so you have an appreciation of his wines because of that. And so that they can really get to know the people behind the bottle, so that when they come back to Napa Valley, we're focusing on Napa Valley this year, they actually have the connections to be able to come in and enjoy the wines in a different way.
And I really like what you're doing, because you're really giving a sampling of what the Napa Valley has to offer, not just big wines, but just little ones in between. But and also a good variety of the whole, the various AVAs that are here, because the fruit from southern Napa and the valley floor is completely different than obviously we're dealing with like mountain fruit here. And I think that it gets really exciting when you can show people there's just a few miles away what the soils and the microclimates have to offer. So what's someone to expect on this cruise?
I think a great time. I think the expectation to have is to come in and have the expectations you're looking for with wine. And what I mean by that is, you're going to have some people who are coming in and they're really looking for the next great bottle of wine to purchase. And you have other people who just are kind of burnt out of Napa Valley and feel that it's gotten a little prestigious. And what I really want to emphasize on this cruise is, find out the real Napa Valley that doesn't have to be prestigious. You're going to have the larger companies that obviously can host larger groups, but you're also going to have, the smallest winery, they do one wine. When they host you, it's a picnic in a vineyard. So it's very intimate, very friendly, and it gives you a side of Napa Valley that isn't necessarily, that we don't necessarily see driving down Route 29 or Silverado Trail. So I think the expectation to have is to really kind of get a new light of Napa Valley, where it doesn't have to be so prestigious. It can be a little more kind of human and welcoming.
More connection back to the farming aspect of it, and that's something that I agree. I think it's been a little lost, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but at the same time, there's that natural, just farming aspect that it's comfortable and it's wonderful.
Fun in their environment, doing that is to me one of the most beautiful things.
What did you think about the Cabernet?
I actually tweeted. I think it has beautiful fruit and great structure, but also very strong softness to it that really makes it approachable, welcoming. It doesn't overtake the palate, so it would be a great wine, but it still really kind of stands on its own alone, which to me stands for a really good wine. I also love that it shows older vintages, especially with mountain fruit cab. Mountain fruit tends to be a little more strong, and so giving it that time to really come into itself and become mature, really, I think, a tremendous thing to provide to your clientele.
Absolutely, I think it's very cool. We do have some more questions that have come through. So George, we're going to kind of fire these over to you because it is mostly about the Cabernet. Cellar Mistress is actually saying she loves the peppery nose on the cab. Lovely black currant, hint of black olive, and pairs nicely with a 5-year aged Gouda. Fantastic choice tonight.
Sounds like she's having a good time.
She is having a good time. She also kind of wanted to know what does adding the Petite Sirah do for the structure of the Cabernet?
I don't know if she had a chance to taste the 2006 Petite Sirah yet, but again, mountain fruit. There's a little more structure to it. Not that it needs much color, but Petite Sirah is a very dark wine, and I think people sometimes judge a wine by its color instead of its taste. So it's I don't want to say cosmetic, but it adds a little more structure, I think.
Absolutely. And it does deepen the color a little bit, which is wonderful. It gives it that nice, dark, rich, beautiful color. And I'm just going by, the wines that I know that you produced. It's just a wonderful, wonderful addition. All right, back to the cruise. Back to you, Jan. So we're going out on the bay, and you have not only wine, but you have, little gourmet bites. What else is kind of happening on? I'm curious. I can't wait to hear about this.
So we actually have 2 levels. We have general admission and VIP. Both of them are excellent choices. VIP gives you a little bit more of an intimacy with wineries. You actually get to sit with them, really kind of take your time, go through their wines, get to know them. There's going to be key represented. Most of them are going to be artisan winemakers, so you're really going to get the backbone of the wines. General admission is a walk-around tasting. And again, wonderful as well. We have a tremendous selection of wineries. I'm actually very excited about this year's cruise. On both of them, you're going to get foods that are nicely paired with the wines that are being presented. Not just cheese plates that you find in so many tastings. We're actually giving you actual food where you can really kind of have a meal through the evening. And then we're going to give you plenty of balcony space to enjoy the views. And Del Dotto has actually taken on the top deck and is offering inside and outside seating, and with all of their wines, all 3 brands. So
That should be very interesting. I can't wait to check that out.
I think that is going to be a great topic on the
Fantastic to check it out. And your VIP tickets are almost sold out, aren't they?
They are all sold. So yeah, if you want VIP, I'd jump on the wagon because they're almost sold out. You can either go on our website, which is rb.com/sale, or you can also find our event on CellarPass, where we're selling all of our tickets. So
Absolutely. And if you use the code CellarPass, you can save 20% off your cruise tickets. So hurry up and get them now. Definitely jump on those VIP tickets. And good luck, and we hope to see you there. Well, let's jump into the Petite Sirah, shall we? Because it's just sitting here teasing me, and I really want to try it. So here we go, into the Petite Sirah. I love the color on this one. That's yummy. And where's the Petite Sirah coming from, George?
I call it High Valley. Right, and it's it's just north of Napa Valley, and it's Lake County, but it's, like you say, one of the lower AVAs. They're real close to Napa Valley.
And this is
3,000 feet. This is real hillside. Very steep. Yes, correct. It's High Valley.
that's what it's called. That's wonderful. Let me see if we have some more feedback coming in from our blogosphere. We will check that. All right. So, George, when you're not making wine, what are your favorite things to do in this area?
Well, I mean, number one, we're working a lot on training our new puppy. So it's a year old. We've had it since it's been 8 weeks, so it's kind of the new baby in the family. So that's, we go to actually dog school every Wednesday with my wife. Sophia Loren is doing very well at it. Well, when you have an Italian dog, you need an Italian.
And tell me a little bit about the breed of your dog. This isn't like your typical black lab. Let me tell you, this is a unique dog.
There's less than about 1,000 in the United States currently. It's called a Legato. And it's one of the base breeds, actually. They've bred the Portuguese water dog and the poodle out of them. The breed is about 5,000 years old. Our dog's about 35 pounds, and it's got curly, kind of brown hair, and it's just a cutie.
And they have a special talent, do they not?
They do. They are a scent hound, so you use him to hunt truffles.
Not the chocolate kind.
Not the chocolate kind. We actually went to the Oregon Truffle Fest with her, and I found more truffles than she did, but she's young yet.
You know what you're looking for.
Yes.
So you've got a few things on her, but I'm sure she'll be out sniffing them pretty soon.
Truffle has a very short shelf life, actually, and you really have about a 2-week window that you really want to pick the truffle. It's at its prime, so to speak, and the dogs can smell that. So we did watch some dogs that were very well trained, and they were just like hit the ground when they smelled a truffle, and the owner would dig it up, or they'd help dig, or whatever.
That's very cool. You had to go to Oregon for that. Are there no?
Festival here, but we were too late to get into that one. And Oregon's a little bit more hands-on, where they train the dogs and so forth. And, I'm going to find out more about the Napa Valley Truffle Fest this year. But the Oregon was a lot of fun. Drank a lot of Pinot Noir. It's nice to expand your horizons, but some of the time you want a wine that's a little riper.
Absolutely, like your Cab or your Petite Sirah. And so we've got some more questions coming in. Hold on, refreshing the tweeter. There it is! Petite Sirah! Wow, it's gorgeous from our cellar mistress. Needs rosemary roasted lamb chop. That will settle for sheep's milk cheese. Grace, I'm thinking you've got a bunch of cheese in front of you tonight. That's fantastic. And I am refreshing again. All right, do we have any other questions? Question actually about booking George's Vintner lunch. You can actually go to CellarPass.com and you can book it there. You can also go to their website, noblefamilywines.com, and book it there as well. Either way, you get to CellarPass, so it's fantastic. And George had mentioned that he's got a little special going on today. So if you go to their website, noblefamilywines.com, and use the code CPTV20, you will actually get 20% off a 3-pack of your choice of wines and free shipping. But it's only valid for the next 7 days, so you got to act fast.
Three or more.
3 or more. 3 or more wines. That's your choice. Yes, so make your collection. That's actually, it's a great deal, and these wines are fantastic. I know the bloggers, they're trying them tonight. You can try them at home. If you didn't know, you can actually log on to CellarPass and find out how to participate in all of our live tastings and shows. And most of the wineries are happy to ship you the wines, and you can taste right along with us. So definitely check out CellarPass.com to see all of this schedule, all the wineries that we're featuring, and definitely you can participate online. You can also get tickets and join us here in the studio and be a part of it live, which is a lot of fun. All right, we're not done because, well, we're just not. And we still have more questions because we started a little late, because that's how things go sometimes. Getting that warm and fuzzy feeling with the Petite Sirah. It's not overwhelming, and lots of dark raspberries. I think this is fantastic feedback. And the finish is absolutely superb and lingering on the Cabernet. So
Those are good comments. My wines are fairly high in alcohol. They average about 14.8. But I think the way they're made and the open top fermentation we go through and the long barrel age, you don't taste any alcohol, which is the sign of a well-made wine.
Absolutely, there's a lot of balance. You don't get that heat that you'll get from a lot of wines, and which makes them really sippable, which can also make them very dangerous. Just saying. Got a lot of good things. Perfect. Very good. Oh, these are all great feedback. And good question. Actually, where are we, or what are you looking at? Is actually the question. What you're looking at behind us is actually here at Hall Wine St. Helena. So you've got the beautiful outdoor vineyards, fantastic view. You can't beat it. And the Bergfield is right behind us, the Bergfield Hall. And it is actually their ghost winery. It's a stone winery that they unearthed a long time ago and just recently opened it to the public for special events. And they also have the barrel cellar down there. So come check it out. It's really, really cool. All right. The Petite Sirah is very nice. That varietal isn't always your first choice. This comes from Napa as well, from Maxine Lee. Why did you choose Lake County for this wine?
I think a lot of times people lock into Napa Valley and they make a lot of just great fruit, but I think Cab is king here. If you want to buy Chardonnay, you might want to buy it from the Russian River or from farther south in the microclimates, I guess. And Petite Sirah is an offshoot of a Rhone varietal, and the Rhone varietal is mainly grown in southern France. So we have a little more heat up in Lake County at this high valley location. So it gets warm up there. So I'm trying to match the varietal with the right location.
Absolutely. Well, I think you obviously chose wisely, and it shows. This wine is fantastic. And let's see, we have some more questions. And here they come. All right. Comes about the label. One thing about the label, it's very striking. The Noble doesn't just describe your name, obviously, but it describes what the bottle looks like. It's very stately and elegant. So this is a bottle that would look good on any table.
Do you have your reading glasses?
Yes, I have my reading glasses on. I got LASIK, remember? All right, we're
17 Webster's Dictionary.
all right, Noble. Possessing very high or excellent qualities or properties. Absolutely, well said. It's a perfect description of the wine, the label, everything. I can't say that I would ever be ashamed to see this on a table. It's gorgeous, and I think, a special occasion or just a Thursday night, it's a great wine to enjoy. And I think that's what's great about your Petite Sirah, too, because it does offer an incredible quality at an amazing price point. And I think a lot of people, they can't afford a true, really great Napa Valley cab. It might be a little far out of reach, but your Petite Sirah just slides right on in at a really reasonable price point. Almost anybody can afford it, and it's a showstopper. And I think you're doing really well with that. And I hope you keep it up. And oh my gosh, I got all kinds of feedback. This is so exciting. Agreed. Very stylish. I love it. Love the simplicity of the label. And Jared likes the design on the crown.
It's a very old crown, so there were no worries about trademark infringement. So when we found a crown that was about 300 years old, so it wouldn't be remembered.
And where did you find it?
Actually, my graphics designer did it for us, but he said he thought we'd have no problem with that being the age of where he found it at or whatever.
No, I think it's a very beautiful design indeed. And everyone's really digging the label. They love the simplicity of it and the general design. They're saying their experience with Lake County has mainly been white wine, so this is actually really refreshing to taste some of the reds. Little known fact, if you've had Napa Valley wines, you've probably been drinking some Lake County wines. I'm just saying, a lot of grapes come down that hill, and mainly to fill in, the bring in the body and everything. It's not like it's 100%, but they do produce some really killer wines.
It has to be 75% Napa Valley.
It has to be 75% Napa Valley, but I do know a lot of red grapes come down that hill to fill in, bringing a little bit more of that body and that color and that texture. You're getting a lot of volcanic soils up there. It's an amazing region, so definitely check it out if you have the opportunity. There's many wineries up there, and of course, you've got Noble Wines producing it right here. Petite Sirah is very nice, and they're loving it. So this is all very, very good stuff. All right, gang. Well, more popping in. I love it. I love it. It pairs well with a fire pit and cigar. And you're getting that smokiness from the high valley.
Actually, 8 has a little smokiness into it, but it was because they had fires up there. That was their big fire year, and some people can smell it. Here I'm telling people what to smell, and I told them I wouldn't do that, but
I can vouch for this one.
some people can smell it and other people can't. It's a very subtle smoke flavor to it. I mean, it goes very well.
You get this subtle, almost like mesquite kind of note, and if you compare it to the 6, you can actually really tell it's there. But it is a very interesting phenomenon that when they have these big fires, that the grapes actually reflect that. But that's not the only time we've seen that. There's a particular Sauvignon Blanc out of Sonoma County that I really love, and it grows along magnolia trees. And you get the magnolia blossom. It just somehow gets into the soil and it comes out in this wine. It's fantastic. Our cellar mistress says, wasn't drinking much Petite Sirah, but this one has restored my faith in its varietal. George, congratulations. This is fantastic. I think you do. Absolutely. And, they're just pouring in now. They've been drinking wine. They're getting chatty. I see how it goes. every day is a special occasion with this wine. And the Petite, Sirah, and Cab are great. Would you add any other varietals to your portfolio?
Of course, my wife wants me to do champagne, but no. That's out. I mean, that's a little more labor intense than I'm prepared for. I would think eventually I'd like to do a white wine or a Pinot. Just
Do both. And then we'll forgive you on the bubbles.
Russian River, or it'd be the correct climate to make a quality wine.
Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't expect anything less. So can I suggest maybe the Santa Maria Hills and Lucia Highlands?
Very nice white wines and Pinots down there.
All right. Let's see if we got any more last minute slide-ins in here. It doesn't look like it. All right. I think we're slowing down. So, well, we thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you really enjoyed the wines today and hearing George talk about his passions and the varietals and what makes his wines different than everybody else's. And of course, hearing about the Sip and Sail cruise coming up on May 2nd in San Francisco. Get your tickets and you'll be able to sample a multitude of Napa Valley wines. If you can't get to the wineries, have the wineries come to you. It's a fantastic idea. We thank you so much again for joining us. We thank our bloggers, all of you, for participating, and we very much so thank Hall Wines for being our partner in hosting this venue. We look forward to seeing you next week, and we will have the always entertaining Judd Finkelstein from Judd's Hill Winery. So tune in at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays for CellarPassTV. See you soon. Cheers, guys.